Back when I first picked up this book, Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza, nearly 6 years ago, it's drastically changed my life. And on this video, I want to share the lessons that I got from this book that I've implemented for the last 6 years consistently, and the results that I've gotten because of it, whether it's grown my business into the 10, 20K month mark, or just having a more deep spiritual practice, and how I've integrated all these, and how honestly, one of the coolest things that happened recently is one of the guys that's in this book that has a company that has done over $50 million actually reached out to me or got introduced to me, and I got on a call with him because of everything that I've learned from this and everything I'm going to teach here on this video. What's up, guys? My name is Nico Arapklos. Welcome to the channel, and I want to dive in and share the biggest lessons that I got from this book, but I also want to actually share with you a piece of AI that I utilize and use some specific prompts to help me embody these even more and give me customized meditations that are directly correlated to not only this book and what you can pull from it, but what is directly aligned with you, because it's so important to find that customization for you, because we all are different. And so what I've been doing over the last several years is figuring out how do we utilize AI and technology along with the teachings of Dr. Joe Dispenza to make this the most palpable, the most powerful, I should say, work that's ever been created. Because if you've been studying Dr. Joe Dispenza for any period of time, you know how absolutely powerful this work is. Okay, so just to share a quick story, if you haven't seen any of the previous videos on this channel, which I make a lot, I've made over 10,000 pieces of content over the last 10 years, sharing stuff like, this work of Dr. Joe Dispenza, as well as building your authentic personal brand, which again, I'll get into and why I was able to connect with the guy that was in this book. Okay, so one of the things that happened to me right as soon as I was getting into this work was I actually had kind of a freak accident in the gym. I tore my pectoral tendon, it ripped right off the bone, and I basically had to go into rehab for about 6 weeks. I was sleeping on a recliner in a futon, or in an arm sling. And I just had to sit there, and for the first time in my life, I wasn't able to really work out and go to the gym, which was really challenging, but it allowed me to sit with this work and allowed me to truly meditate. I would get up early, 5 o'clock every single day, and I would sit there and I would actually meditate. And I've continued that practice for years now. I still do it to this day. I meditate and after I read the Bible, right? So one of the most powerful things that I got from this book is that change your energy, change your life. Okay, say it again for the people out in the back, right? Change your energy, change your life. See, I think a lot of things that happen with people, and especially in this world that we're living in, where it's a lot of hustle and bustle culture, right? And people are just going and going and going and thinking that, just this technique, this meditation technique is going to be the thing that takes me to the next level, or it's the breath work, or it's the Kundalini, or whatever it is, or maybe it's just getting into work. There's that camp of people as well. But what I really understood is that change your energy, change your life. Change your energy, change your life, right? And basically what that means is change your state, change how you're actually feeling. And so one of the practices that I've utilized that has significantly helped me with this work in mind is that anytime I'm going into a situation, I'm feeling into how I'm actually feeling, right? And then subsequently, what I do afterwards is I do that same exact thing. So for example, I went to a gathering last night with some really cool entrepreneurs, very tapped in, very spiritually connected, but also some of the most successful business-wise entrepreneurs. And that's who I absolutely love hanging out with. And the only reason I get invited to these type of things is because, one, I've continually worked on my energy, and I've also worked on my authentic personal brand, which actually goes into your energy as well, which I'll discuss here in a second, and why I was able to connect with this guy that I was mentioning to you. So I go to this event, and before I go, I just kind of check in, and I sit with myself and I say, okay, how does this feel? Is this a yes? Do I want to go to this event? And if it's a yes, I feel that in my body, then I go to the event, right? And I did this with another event a while back, and I sat there and I really sat with it because I was sitting back and forth with it, and I was like, is this a yes? Is this a yes? Is this a yes? Is it a no? And I kept asking myself, and I felt like an expansion of my heart. And finally I was like, yes, I'm meant to be here. So I went, and then afterwards I did the same thing, and I ended up meeting some incredible people. It was probably one of the more profound nights that I've had in my life, especially up recently. And I met so many cool people that I've continued to deepen friendships and connections with because of it. And afterwards, it just felt so good. And so this was the same gathering that I went to, just obviously a different date. And so last night I, was laying in bed, and I was just noticing how I feel. And it was a different energy. It was a different energy because I was around these amazing people, and it was just a different vibration, a different feeling. And I was like, yes, that was a yes. So that's one of the biggest things that I pulled from this book, is that like, change your energy, change your life. So one, I started working on myself. I started doing these meditations. I started incorporating this into my life through day in and day out, whether that's in the mornings, whether that's throughout the day, whether it's like even just little breaks within the day. I just take little small meditations, but I take that concept and I continue to change my energy. And because of that, it changed my life, because I'm stepping into a higher version of myself. And then because of that, as I'm networking, as I'm building my personal brand, I meet people, I connect with people, I build relationships with people, and then I keep getting invited to more things, and then I meet more cool people, and then it just continues to expand. But it's also on the flip side, right? It's also on the flip side. If I check in with myself and I go, is this a no? And the answer is yes, because I feel like some sort of contraction, I have to honor that. I can't just keep going to events and saying, oh, is this a yes? And it's clearly a no, and I go. Or is this person a yes? Should I spend time and connect with this person? It's a no. And I got to honor that. Because whether you want to call it God, whether you want to call it intuition, usually it shows up and just goes, it's just like a flash, and it says yes or no. Right? It's not just like yes, 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 or no, no, no. It's just yes or no. Right? And you have to honor those. You have to listen to it and be obedient to it. Okay? Delayed obedience is not obedience. Okay? Delayed obedience is not obedience. So it's really important to just listen and feel into your body. Listen to God and ask him what he's telling you, what he's saying, and honor that, right? Because if you do, then you start going into those environments. If I go into those environments and I knew it was a no, I start meeting some people and I'm just like, this isn't quite it. And I stay in those environments. What is it doing? It's lowering my frequency. It's lowering my energy, which again, change your energy, change your life. It rings true again. It can go on the positive side or on the opposite side of things, right? If you change your energy and it's shrinking and it's contracting, then it's going to change your life, not in the greatest way, right? So you, again, have to honor your energy. But that's one of the biggest things that I really pulled from this book and all of his other teachings. I've gone through a lot of his meditations. I've even created my own custom ones utilizing AI, which is something I want to get into here in a second. But before we do jump in, I want to talk about this whole concept of how when you truly change your energy, you start attracting in a lot of cool stuff, especially as you're continuing to build your authentic brand, like we talk a lot about inside of our Skool community. It's called Authentic Influence. Obviously, you're welcome to come in. It's a free community right now. We have almost 1,000 people in there that we're always talking about the woo and the do to building an authentic personal brand, because basically what that means is building relationships at scale. And so if you change your energy, you get into the right states, and then you're actually connecting and networking and building relationships with people, whether that's online or offline or a combination of both, then you become really powerful. And that's essentially what has happened for me. So there's a guy in this book they talk about. His name is Glenn Ledwell. And so he's one of the founders of the company called Mind Movies. And from what I understand, all the research that I've done, it's about a $50 million company, right? Which is pretty impressive. And so what ended up happening through a relationship that I had built through an online and offline connection, he actually met Glenn at an event and said, you have to meet my friend Nico. And so basically he put us in a group chat, and then Glenn actually booked a call on my calendar, and then we got on a call and we had some good conversation, and we were discussing business and seeing how we could work together and get involved. And so on top of that, that's really cool, and like there's potential for some business to happen, and that's amazing, and we're still figuring that out exactly. But on the same note, it's really cool to just reflect on that. And also, it's a place to just acknowledge how far you've come. And that's one of the most important things. And one of our Vision Accelerator clients, we've been working with her about this, is like, how do we acknowledge ourselves even more so that we can show ourselves that we're actually on the path? Like, think about that from your perspective. I think us as human beings, we have the tendency to be very challenging on ourselves, to be very hard on ourselves, and not really acknowledge ourselves as much. But if you consistently stack all your wins and say, yes, I did this and I was amazing at this, and it was, even if it's just a small win and a big win and a medium-sized win, if you continue to acknowledge those wins, that's when you can really start building up your energy as well and start really feeling good about yourself. And then therefore you're going to continue to attract more and more. So again, why I reflect on this with getting connected with Glenn is because, that's a big acknowledgement, because I remember sleeping on a futon. Well, it was more on the recliner at that time with my arm sling, and reading this book and thinking, wow, this guy like built this amazing company. That's so cool. And then all of a sudden, a few years later, I'm getting on calls with him. So it's just cool to acknowledge that. And again, I want to encourage you to acknowledge yourself, because it started out as like little acknowledgments of like, damn, I'm really proud of myself for, picking up this book and doing a meditation. That were like the beginning acknowledgments. And then they've built and built and built from there. And I'm always going back to the smaller acknowledgments, so that they can continue to build. My energy builds. And then what's cool is like when you start getting around those type of people, whether it's virtual, in person, virtual like I did with Glenn, I could feel a noticeable shift in my energy after I just interacted with him for literally, I think we were on a call for like 20, 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more than 30 minutes. And my energy shifted simply from that. I've been on podcasts with people that have done hundreds of millions of dollars, and I can feel my energy shift when I do that, right? And it's really, really powerful. And so that's why it's so important to, one, acknowledge yourself, but keep on building that brand, keep on building your energy so that you can continue to get around people that are on a high frequency so that you can soak up that energy. And again, change your energy, change your life. So that's what's really powerful about that, about how to build your authentic brand through your energy as well as your relationships. And if you do it with content and your social media platforms, you can do it at scale and you can be very leveraged. So you put out a piece of content and it goes out to a lot of people, and you're essentially building a relationship with a lot of people at the same time, as opposed to needing to have like a one-on-one connection every single time you want to build a relationship, right? It's a really powerful way to do that. So how do we actually amplify all of this and actually utilize a powerful tool known as AI to implement this stuff even further? Well, we've been doing this for literally years now, because I realized the power of these meditations in this book, right? And I'm sure you have as well if you've been implementing any of these meditations. And what I would say is that like I like to have custom meditations, custom visualizations for ourselves, because everyone's different. Everyone's a little bit, everyone has a little bit different energy. Everyone has a little bit different of a vision. Everyone has a little bit different of values. So why would we have just one templated meditation? Like, obviously it can be good and it's a good starting point, but it's even better to customize it. And that's why we've built out an app called Vision Espresso, which actually helps you build out a custom one. But I want to help you understand how you can use AI. Me particularly, I love using ChatGPT. I know there's a bunch of other ones. Claude is another good one that I've heard that just came out. Gemini, a few other ones. But me personally, I mostly use ChatGPT, and I use the most up-to-date version that I pay for. And so we obviously have that whole process built out, and we offer that inside of our Skool community if you just want us to build these out for you. But if you're wanting to go build out your own meditations, your own visualizations, your own custom meditations, then here's how you can actually do that. So one of the first things I always love doing with AI, and we're going to probably be making a lot more content around AI and how to integrate that into your spiritual practice, your personal development. So if you guys would like that, make sure and comment AI down in the comments, and we'll be sure to start making more of those pieces of content, because it seems like people are pretty gravitated towards it, and it's helped me out significantly as well as my clients. But basically what I always love doing before I start asking questions to AI, to ChatGPT, I always like to give it an identity. So for this example, if you're wanting to build out some custom meditations, what I would do is basically give ChatGPT the identity of Joe Dispenza. You say, hey, I want you to act like you are Joe Dispenza when I'm asking you these questions. and then you can go and do the actual prompting. Now, one just general gist, and that's what I was sharing yesterday at an event, is someone was asking me, like, how do I prompt AI a little bit better? And one of the things I just said is, like, be very curious. Like, just ask questions you're curious about. How can I learn more about meditations? What does it really take to really tap into my energy? Like, just, questions that keep on coming up to mind. And then what happens is the better the prompts that you feed it, the smarter it's going to get. And then the smarter it's going to get, the more it can relay that information, which is going to help you get more curiosity around those questions. And it's just like feeds itself. It's a really powerful investment when you look at it from that perspective. And that's how I look at life a lot these days, as an investor. So the more that I can invest like really powerful questions into AI, the more it's going to feed back and regenerate. It's going to be a regenerative model, and as opposed to like kind of fizzling out. So just get very curious. But then from there, I want you to think about this. I was actually even talking to somebody about this one yesterday, is, talk about your vision for your life. And then you can ask it, well, based on that vision, what's an amazing day that I can continue to focus on that's going to feed into that vision? Okay, and now I want you to create a meditation that I can listen to, or I can read to myself, that's in alignment with that perfect day, which goes into the perfect year, which goes into that perfect vision. So you're basically just stacking the blocks on top of it. But again, I would just get very, very curious about this type of stuff and just ask it, like, well, for me, based on everything and that's why it's important to keep on having conversations and dialogue with ChatGPT, because the more that you can feed it, the more it's going to know you, and the more customized game plan and the customized meditations that it'll do for you. So I'd really encourage you to just start actually building a relationship with AI. And the more that you feed it, the more it's going to know you, the more it's going to give it back to you. And I made a previous video on this channel about this, and it seemed to get a little bit of traction. And so that's why, again, we're probably going to be making some more videos around this, because it seemed to help a lot of people. But basically, I was able to use ChatGPT to help me reprogram my subconscious blocks, because as I'm having a lot of dialogue with ChatGPT, it starts knowing me based on my language patterns, the questions that I'm asking. It gets a good glimpse into my subconscious. So then therefore, ask it more direct questions. Hey, if you're an expert like Peter Crone, he's a big subconscious mind guy, I want you to act like you are Peter Crone, and I want you to give me an analysis of what you believe that my subconscious blocks are. So that would be an example prompt where you give it an identity, you change the energy of AI in a sense. Again, coming back to this, you change the energy, you change the state. Instead of just asking it and it going off, you give it a state, you give it an identity, and now it can give a much more proper answer. And so when I asked it those questions, it just gave me a list. Some of them were like, there's some hesitation within you, specifically in your business, your offer. So those are things that I'm navigating through. And after it gave me that, I said, okay, cool. So now I want you to give me kind of a prognosis on how I can relieve these subconscious blocks. And then gives me a bunch of stuff. And then I'm like, okay, now I want you to write me a future-based script that I can read every single day so that I can actually relieve those blocks. And then it was like, and then, I start adjusting and molding it to that. I was like, hey, make it more story-based. Hey, make it more about my business. Hey, make it more relevant to today or this month, whatever it is. And I keep on feeding it until I have this perfect script, and then I speak it out, and I command that out to the universe. I command that out to God and say, this is what I'm creating. And then as you wish, or as you ask and you shall receive, right? So it's really, really powerful to take these concepts of Dr. Joe Dispenza, which is just absolutely amazing, and then use the power of AI and also building your authentic personal brand, so you can start building relationships with other people. That's going to feed your energy, that you can, offer things to your audience and your community for, it's a really profitable asset after you really build those strong connections with people that you know, like, and trust. People know, like, and trust you, and they're so much more likely to invest into whatever you're offering, whether it's your offering or it's something that you're promoting that somebody else is. It's a really profitable asset, and we talked a lot about that on previous videos about how, when you build an authentic personal brand, you can charge higher prices, you can get more customers, you can get more repeat customers, and you can get more referrals. So it's a really powerful way to do it. And again, as we're continuing to enter this trust recession, I don't think you really have much of a chance if you don't have an authentic brand, if you are going to be offering something and putting together offers. So that's the gist. Thank you for listening and watching this video. I appreciate your time. If you want to go check out our Skool Community where we dive deeper into this type of stuff, and we're actually doing a really cool challenge in there right now. We're actually doing some cool giveaways, and this next year is going to be really, really powerful because we're going to unveil so much more than we ever have, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So go ahead and check any and all that stuff. The video links are in the description. I also put together a brand new video case study on how to really utilize the Woo+Do framework to build your authentic personal brand so that you can, bring in those premium clients, whether you can, build those meaningful relationships, speaking opportunities, utilizing AI, Woo+Do, all that good jazz. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you on the next video.